Hello, good afternoon to you. Thanks for staying tuned. Still 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt, the number one talk news and sports radio station. I'm Adedayo, 11 gone past 4 p.m. and the conversation continues. Once again, thanks for staying tuned. In case you did not know, in case you didn't go to work today and you haven't been on the internet at all, or you've been holed up someplace for the last 24 hours and you have absolutely no idea, and you've not even listened to the radio either before this very moment. Today is International Women's Day. Today, absolutely so, and it's commemorated every year, March 8th, and this year is no exception. Now, the theme for this year is Choose to Challenge, I do believe. Choose to Challenge. A challenged world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. So let's all choose to challenge. We have forged a gender equal world, celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness against the bias, take action for equality. Now, I've got joining me in the studio for this conversation this time two women. I've got Stephanie Ekpebulu, she's spokesperson of FIDA here in Rivers State. Stephanie, good day to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Also, we've got Millie Ogu here. Millie is a member of FIDA here in Rivers State as well. Millie, great to have you here in the studio also.
Thank you very much.
And happy International Women's Day to the both of you.
Thank you very much.
Great. So let's start from let's start on this note. Why do you think it's necessary to even have an International Women's Day in the first instance? Do you think? I know we have an international day for almost everything, but you know a lot of those things I think nobody really takes it that serious, really. So how crucial, how important is it in your estimation, for us to have an International Women's Day, and what does it accomplish?
Well, it is important considering the fact that women have been put down by cultures and traditional practices, including the religion, over the years. So it is a time for women to rise up to the occasion, to rise up to the challenge, and ensure that they take their rightful place in society, that same place that God has placed them before the foundations of the earth. So it is important that we not only celebrate this day, but moving forward, ensure that all that we have, the beautiful ideas that we have come up with in commemorating this day, that we walk the talk and not just celebrate this day and let it go by.
You talked about the place of women. It's very important because that has been a subject of great controversy and discussions for as long as anyone can remember. The place of women. So I asked the question, what is the place of women?
Well, if we want to go back to creation, the place of woman is created to complement the man and to ensure that the purpose of God is fulfilled in both sexes, the male and the female. And over the years, the woman has been playing a subservient role. The woman has been made to believe by man that she has her role in society is stereotyped, and that she is not equal to the man. Equal, I mean, I don't know how to put it in a way not to sound offensive, but the woman has always, we have seen, society has seen the woman as someone who is less than the man, and that is not right.
Millie, I'd like your take on that same question as well. What is the place of the woman? Because if you draw from religious and scriptural positions, if you're drawing from there, so maybe those who say that the woman is should be subservient or is even less compared to the man, they may not be absolutely right, because they may not be absolutely wrong, rather, because the biblical account talks about the man being created first. The woman was sort of like an afterthought, because the man was supposed to, Adam that is, was supposed to take charge of Eden, and then maybe he got lonely or something, and he needed someone to play around with, to play catch or to play tag with in the garden, and then he was sleeping one night, and then God didn't even get fresh spare parts for the woman. He had to take a part from the man, so the woman came off the man. She's a byproduct, if you will, of the man. I'm going biblical account here. So if you stick into the biblical account, maybe those who are saying that the woman is less compared to the man may not be absolutely wrong.
Well, Dayo, let me just take you from the point where you said she's not even original. She was taken from the man. Now, if you remember very well, when God wanted to create the man, he took the man from the dust.
Could you read this, please?
He took the man from the dust.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that.
Okay. He took the man from the dust.
Okay.
Now, the woman he took from a better refined material. So it's not just the dust. And I don't think it was not accidental. It was deliberate. Because everything God made, he made them, the animals, male and female. Then he said, no, we haven't finished yet. It wasn't just an afterthought. We haven't finished. Because this man is not going to be able to do the job that we want him to do. We need somebody that will help him carry out this work. That's why everywhere you see where women are not, giving prominent roles to play in the society, you always have serious problems. Like we have in Nigeria today, sorry to say that. God made the woman, help. You need help when there is a challenge, when there's problems, that not so. And we see all the challenges, but the women are not being brought in to perform the role that, they're originally created to perform, to really do the work that is left undone.
All right, let's get to the theme of this year's commemoration, which is Choose to Challenge. What exactly are women challenging? What exactly should they be challenging?
We're challenging the stereotypes. We're challenging inequality. We're challenging injustice. We're challenging everything that brings down the woman.
And what are these things?
Okay. Go ahead.
I wanted to add that aside challenging inequality, challenging injustices, and all that about women, we are also challenging the women themselves to come out and be the best in whatever they're doing. You're a nurse, be the best nurse wherever you are. You're a doctor, we want you to be the best. Just pick up that challenge that even if the society has said you can't do this, you need to prove them wrong. Just like our sister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, everybody can agree that she is a very good example for us women today. That if you put your mind to do something and do it very well, the men will also acknowledge and give you that, the place, the opportunity to come and perform. So they should rise up. They should not just sit down and wait for somebody to come and carry them up. They should rise up and do whatever they are skilled to do. They should do it very well. That is also the challenge that we are posing.
Stephanie talked about challenging the things that put women down. What are those things that put women down?
The things that bring women down. Yeah. The religious customs, culture, all those practices, all those beliefs and things that have become norms in the society. For instance, you have children at home, and even if the boy is the younger, you tell the child, this is your brother, he's the man here, he's the head. Even when they're going out. Well, anyway, I do not take offense when you ask the man, the younger brother, to take care of his sister because she's a woman. But beyond that, there's this making the girl child feel so less of herself. The boy should always take the lead. Even when the boy is 10 years younger than the girl, he should take the lead. I mean, all those things make the woman feel a second-class citizen, makes her feel like, she's not in any way, she cannot match him. Even that also makes some women begin to feel intellectually low, even when they are smarter than the boys. So it's really a challenge, and we're saying no to all of this.
Is there a deliberate conspiracy, in your estimation, to put the woman down, to ensure that she's not able to aspire to all that she can? Because I'm asking on the basis we talk about women not being given opportunities. I mean, for you to belong to FIDA, you have to be lawyers. Am I right?
Yes.
You went to school, you went to law school, you got your degrees, you got your certification and all of that. You're lawyers. Nobody stopped you from becoming lawyers. If you wanted to become doctors, you may
Nobody
have
would
become
have stopped
doctors.
us.
If you wanted to become engineers or even astronauts even, you possibly could have accomplished that as well. So if nobody stopped you from becoming lawyers and whatever it is you're aspiring to become, which, and I do hope you do get that, what then is stopping women really, if nobody stopped you once again from becoming lawyers? So back to the earlier question, is there a conspiracy in your estimation to put the woman down?
Anyway, like my sister here rightly said, she said we're also challenging the women to be the best of whoever or whatever fields they find themselves. So to answer your question, there is nobody and there is nothing stopping us. However, there are times a woman aspires to go beyond where she is, believing that she can handle this task at this particular level. And you find out that even women would tell her, oh, no, this should be for the men now. You shouldn't do this. You are a woman. For instance, a woman aspires to be in a political party and, the husband stops her. Because she's a woman, she's not allowed to go out for the meetings, the same meetings that the man attends. The woman is stopped from going to attend those meetings because she's a woman. Sometimes you see a woman wants to, okay, fine, we now have pilots and all of that. But before now, in fact, why are we even saying this? Before now, women were not allowed to vote. I hope you know that. So why was it that? Wasn't that deliberate? Wasn't that intentional? Why wouldn't a woman be allowed to vote? So these are the things.
No, in the past, there obviously were issues with gender inequality, very obvious issues like the issue of voting rights. There were many issues, but are those issues still the same now? Do we still have those issues because some of these things you mentioned, I mean, they've been erased now.
Yes, they've been erased because we've been speaking up. If imagine that we had just sat back, folded our arms, and said, "Okay, let's just flow with the tide," we wouldn't even be sitting here today to just have this discussion.
Millie?
It really was.
Yes, like she said, gradually, actually, we are not where we used to be, but we are certainly not anywhere near where we ought to be. And that's why, we're doing this campaign. Women ought to be in the platforms where decision making are taking place, where the laws that also affect us are being made. And if you know very well, the political situation in the country does not really, it's a deliberate thing because the platform is not made in such a way that a woman can come and conveniently contest and be voted for. When our votes begin to count the way they ought to be counted, when the elections are done in a way that it is free and fair, then you can say that, yes, it is not a deliberate act. But right now, the system that is put in place is deliberately done to exclude the women from being in the positions where they ought to be in order to also help out to make us a better society.
Might the women also be somewhat responsible for whatever situation you believe you've been subjected to, albeit unfairly?
How?
Just a question. I'm saying that's the case. I'm just asking, might they be responsible as well? Because sometimes you have to take a leadership position. It's not just handed to you.
Of course, yes, we know that.
For example, how does the man, for example, play a leadership role in a family, for example? He just does it. He, at least a sensible man anyways, he knows that he has to provide for his family. He knows that he has to put a roof over their head. So nobody's questioning as to if he's the leader or not because he does these things. And he doesn't sit back asking for someone to hand in a mantle of leadership. It just is that way. But for a lot of women, and I deliberately said a lot of women because I'm not generalizing, do not consider a lot of things that a man does as their responsibility. It's not my job to provide for the family. It's not my job to do this. It's not my. As a matter of fact, there's a common saying: in the family, and I'm using the family as an example here. The man's money is our money. The woman's money is her own money. All right, I'm just using a very casual example here. The woman's money is her own money. So, taking that as a case point, it does seem that even women themselves have might be responsible for this place that they have been put, and they seem comfortable there. Let the man do it. I'm a woman. I shouldn't have to pay for anything. I shouldn't have to take a lead role or play a lead role. What do you think about that?
Well, answer. Very interesting. Like you said, things have actually begun to change, and this is actually one of them too that is also changing. These days you have women who are even breadwinners in their homes. There are some women who are breadwinners, and their husbands don't even, they don't see it as a problem. If the woman has a better job, a more well-paying job, she does it wholeheartedly, happily, without waiting for the man saying it must be you. But there are still the other percentage that see it that way because, like my colleague has said before, that's what the culture, that's what even the religious society has also imputed in the woman, that this is what the man ought to be doing. But when even looking at that aspect, when the Bible said that you should be a help, there was no particular definition of that help. That help could come in any form. If it is financially, if it's emotional help, it's psychological help, and all that. So, but our culture somehow had brainwashed the women folk, even the men, enslaved them to think that, these are the roles that men ought to play, and these are the roles that women ought to play. So even when a man is struggling so much, there are some men, when their women want to, add money for them to do, they don't want their money. Keep your money. Because to them, it's a slap on their ego that the woman is the one bringing out that money. So that area is something that, we are also trying to enlighten the women, tell them, look, don't just sit down at home and wait for the man to bring. God forbid, what if anything happens to the man tomorrow? What happens to the children?
Yeah, the man should have got insurance, I suppose.
Insurance.
Yes, that is something that we ought to, really... but our government actually haven't really, impressed that upon us. It's not compulsory. It's things that individuals just do. So all those things are things that ought to be put in place in order to help, work on all this.
Stephanie, there are not a few persons, very many I suppose, who are uncomfortable with all of this, all this thing that these women are doing. It seems like you're trying to change the balance of things, change the balance of nature. Some would argue, men I mean, and even women, some women as well, who would say there is a way that life has worked, and maybe it was intended to work that way. So a man meets a woman, he marries her, they build a family, he works, he goes out, he tolls, she manages the home, she takes care of the children, she does whatever he asked her to do, and they're fine. It has worked. And maybe that's how God intended it to be. That would be their argument anyways. So what are we trying to do now? Are we trying to change this balance? Is that the essence of this? Are we saying that the rules should become different? It shouldn't be the way, just because it's been that way for a very long time. As women, we are no longer comfortable with that, and we want to change this balance of things. Is that the point, sir?
We're not trying to change anything. Assuming that Dora Akunyili was not given the opportunity to get to where she was as the DG of NAFDAC, I don't think a lot of us would have been dying or would have died as a result of taking drugs, substandard drugs. Right. Now, before Dora Akunyili became DG of NAFDAC, we never knew anything about fake drugs. We never even heard about NAFDAC. And after her exit from NAFDAC, we've not even heard about NAFDAC anymore. One thing I want to draw here is that everyone is created for a purpose. It's fine that a woman gets married, she bears children, they raise a family with the man. But how would it be that the man now begins to dictate for the woman? Is she a robot? She's not a robot. The woman too should aspire to be one thing or the other. Whatever she intends to do, you have to allow her do that. We are not saying that women should be disobedient to their husbands. Neither are we saying women shouldn't get married and have children anymore. Of course, if we don't have children, you and I wouldn't be here, right? Our parents wouldn't have given birth to us and we wouldn't give birth to children. We're not stopping that. We're not changing that. If they say things have moved, we've been living like that and we never had problems. If we never had problems, we wouldn't have been, saying what we're saying. March 8th, that we commemorate International Women's Day, didn't come from Africa. It is the United Nations, that chose that date for women to be celebrated worldwide. So it's a global issue. It's not about we in Africa. It has nothing to do with FIDA. It is something that it's a problem that's, it's a global problem. And that's why we're trying to check it, change the narrative, and put an end to all of this.
So let me just
go
say
on,
something here. You said, are we trying to change the balance? When you say change the balance, it's like it was balanced before.
Exactly.
And we are trying to tilt it. What we are saying is that it's tilted towards one side. Now we want it to balance.
Okay.
So that's exactly what we're doing. We're not changing the balance. We're trying to make it balance.
I like that.
I'd like a clearer perspective here. Now, if you go to the schools, you find females there, almost as many as you find male students.
Sometimes even more than the male students.
Precisely. You go to our tertiary institutions, the same thing as well. You have lovely young ladies everywhere, every department, every faculty. Ladies are there. You go to any workplace, like here where I work, you have females all around. In the news department, in programs, in administration, you have women. So what exactly is the problem here? Because it's not like there's a decree or some law saying women can't get an education, or women can't become lawyers or doctors, or women can't even head organizations. Women have headed this organization where I work currently. Women have headed many other organizations, both in the private sector and in the public sector agencies. You mentioned Dora just a while ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, even after Dora, I think it was a woman who also headed, and possibly is still heading NAFDAC even now. So we've had women leaders in government as well. Maybe not, of course, to a certain limited degree, but but we have had women, and we do have women who are heading high positions, and women once again are allowed to go to school, get an education, improve themselves. So what exactly is the issue precisely that we're trying to tackle or address here?
Now, I'm happy you said we have women in heading institutions and all of that, and you also said even though it's limited. Let me just take us back to when we were talking about politics. You observe that even in some political parties, women are asked to pick up some forms for free. Okay? But at the end of the day, they are scuttled somewhere. They are not allowed to soar. We can say, yes, it's open for everybody. Yes, let the women come, let the men come. But at some point, there's this imbalance. And that is what we're checking here. I think my sister has something to add. Let me allow her speak.
It's actually in that aspect, the political aspect, that I want to talk about. Because when you talk about the different institutions, the different institutions don't award contracts of our roads. They don't take decisions about the healthcare system. They don't take, when I say they don't take care about the healthcare system, they don't make laws regarding that. They can make the law, then appoint maybe. But if the law is faulty already, if it is lopsided, the person who we appoint to take care of that aspect can't do anything about that, because he or she has to follow the laws as they are laid down. So women, where women are being marginalized, if you permit me to use that word, is in that political forum where they ought to be in the lawmaking, the legislative, they ought to be in the legislative arm of government also. How many female governors do we have in Nigeria? How many parties have even, allowed a woman to be their
party leaders?
Their
yes.
candidate,
Okay.
their governorship candidate and all that? Is it that there's never been a woman who has aspired to be that? They won't even give you the opportunity, because every one of us, including the women, have been brainwashed to think that these positions are not for women. That's what we are talking about.
It's Hashtags 913 Nigeria in Football Harket. We're going on a quick break and we'll return shortly. Conversation will continue. You're welcome to join in as well. Do please stay with us.
The night is almost done, but conversations are never done on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Join Jude from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Let's Talk weekdays.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817-001-8162. That is 0817-001-8162. And let us connect you to your customers.
We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station.
Welcome back to the Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We got 19 minutes ago before 5 p.m. Discussion continues now. Still with me in the studio are Stephanie Ekpebulu and Millie of FIDA here in River State. Ladies, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today is International Women's Day. The theme once again is Choose to Challenge. A challenged world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. So let's all choose to challenge stereotypes, challenge gender inequality. You're welcome to join the conversation right now. A line to open 0817 93 0002 or 0003, 0817 93 0007 or 0009. We're live on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH, Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH as well. And to the phone lines now. Hello, Hard Facts, welcome.
Hello there.
Hi, go ahead.
Hello there. Good evening. Good evening, the ladies in the studio.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, nobody is challenging any women not to rise to any level they want to rise to. It's like you rightly say, in the society today, women are being managed, women are being employed in every position in company. Even in politics, if a woman wants to run for governor or for, if they are all Christians, people say women should submit. And he said men should love, even as Christ loved the church. The women don't want to submit themselves to their husband. They want to rise above their husband. I myself have been talking about this thing. If you want to go direct to the Bible, you get what the Bible has commanded the women to do. If they keep themselves in that level at home, in a society, whatever level you want to rise to any level. Nobody is stopping you. Stay in your home. Always remember what your Lord, your God, have commanded you to do. That is just a stake, my dear. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll take a few calls, then I'll get your responses. Hello, you're welcome.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
It's Nigerian info.
Absolutely, go ahead, please.
Eh?
Yes, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, I want to talk about this women's equality with man.
Okay,
Yes,
go on.
it's naturally done by God. If you go to Bible, they now say that women are weaker sex. And the second account says they were created woman to a man. Then if you look at it, you know that if a man allows a woman to do a certain work that will cause harm to that woman, that man will be blamed. So it doesn't mean that women doesn't have knowledge. Like in Nigeria here, we know what politics is. If you are a husband, then you push your woman to go for politics. This is so dangerous right now. When something happens to that woman, what would you say? People will blame you. So in reality, a woman cannot go to a job that is so dangerous in it because that's not the position that they created her for. For example, they put them into police and army. Now, say, can they send any woman to go to that? Can they send a police woman to go and arrest a actually criminal people? Hey, you cannot do that. Because if you do it, you will know that you are sending that woman into danger.
Why can't you do that, by the way?
You say?
Why can't she do that? I'm just wondering. Why?
Because we feel that they are weaker, they are soft.
But you do have women in the army, and you have women in the police, and some of them are even in the war front.
In fact, if you see them in war front, it's not how the men are going. That is why you have casualties in men. Yes. Exactly. When they go to war, they cannot put them in forefront. What is it? You can't put them in forefront.
Okay.
They are even.
You're wrong though, but great to hear from me. Hello, Hard Factor, welcome.
Hello, good evening, Dayo.
Hi, go on.
Yes, good evening, our own mother in the studio. Yes, my name is Akanto. I'm calling from Borogoni. Well, Dayo, I will support the women irrespective of what impediment people are talking about, tradition, women are weaker. Which women are weaker? And you have seen right up. The most thing anything man can do, woman can do more better. In every phase of life, women are doing so much. Is it in the military, as you asked the last caller, in combatant, is it in battle? Women are there. Is it in go to our community, even the religious African religious practice, women are also doing so much great. So I will posit that women should be given a larger percentage. Even what they call it 15 or 25% affirmative to women. It is a bias. It is not good. Women should be allowed to fully participate in political activities in our country, in the world, or in Africa. Women should not be given percentage when we allow women who is qualified to contest for a juicy position. You know, women not a contest for election in our village, in our world, in our state. In the area we appoint her. Women should not be allowed to be appointed. Women should be allowed to be participated fully in every phase of everything. And that I want to say it again, that women are striving higher in all spheres of life.
Right,
so we shouldn't be relegating women to that background.
Great to hear from you, Sir Powder, but I must move on. Hello, hard facts, welcome.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Okay, Dayo, so let me contribute to this topic, women inequality in our society.
Go ahead.
Okay, when they talk of this women issue, I think it's not just about women. It's talking about the individual. What do you have to offer? If you are capable, if you have what it takes, you have what to offer in any position in the society. You can come and prove yourself. Either as a governor or a local government chairman or any position, people will vote for you. Not just about women. You don't have anything to offer. You have the capacity. Are you intellectual? Just all those things. All the quality. What quality? What do you have? I think this is the basic that should be really, really underlined. Not just about saying women. You have the quality. Come out. Prove yourself. People will vote for you in anything. People will support you in any way. I think that is what I have to say.
All right, sir. Hello, 19. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, go on.
Dayo, my name is Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, so Dayo, it is International Women's Day,
yes,
and
yes.
this particular segment of your show, the women I have in the studio, respectfully, please, I want to say that the whole show was uninspiring. The women were very defensive, very apologetic, unprepared. You don't. What you want us to do to you?
Hold on. I mean, I don't mind you disagreeing with my guess, but I take exception to you using the words that he just did in describing my guess, and I think
that's why I said.
I think no, you can't say with all due respect and then be disrespectful. It makes no sense.
No, I'm just saying because what I'm. Dayo, sorry, excuse me. Maybe I have to rephrase what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, I expected these women to give us something inspiring, begging for political position, to be allowed into politics. Women are doing fantastic jobs in the whole world. The women's suffrage movement that started all this women's rights, it was a group of women who banded together and showed that they had capacity. They didn't beg for it. You don't beg somebody. If you have something to give,
why did he join this conversation?
Somebody, you show it. There are women all over everywhere. And then you cited a very good example. You said even in the studio here, there are so many women who are working there who are very wonderful presenters, very wonderful on-air personnel. Prove yourself. Go out there. Tell the younger women what you want them to do. Tell them
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Do you have children?
Hello?
Do you have a family? Do you have children? Hello, can you hear me?
I didn't get your question.
I said, do you have a family? Specifically, do you
have a family?
Do you have children?
I have 6 children.
Oh, fantastic. Male and female, I suppose?
Huh?
Male and female?
Yes, I do have male and female.
Okay, great.
But my first child is a female.
Okay, great. Now, do you...
10 years old.
Fantastic. Do you and would you let your female children do exactly the same things that their brothers do or can do? Do you allow them...
Can you repeat the question?
Do you allow your male and female children the same privileges? Can the females do exactly what the males do?
If I allow them to do the exact same thing
yes,
together.
Do you give them the same privileges? Do you give them the same leeway, the same freedoms? Can your female children do exactly what their brothers do?
Okay, Dayo, let me tell you something in my family.
Okay, go on.
In my family, my children are used to me making cakes, baking, in the kitchen, cooking, washing, doing things. That's how my children see me. So the girl child does not see the mother as the kitchen is her place of honor. So the children always see daddy in the kitchen.
That's fine. But do your daughters have the same freedoms and privileges that your sons have?
My children are treated equally. All of them have equal rights, the same freedom. What the male child gets is what the female child gets. In planning, what you prospect for the male child is what you prospect in Igbo culture. Dayo, let me tell you something. My final statement. In Igbo culture, women are given every right as a man.
In which culture? In which culture?
In Igbo culture.
In Igbo culture.
In the Igbo culture.
I am not Igbo, but the much that I know about the culture, I don't think you're correct, sir. But great to hear from you once again. So, ladies, you've heard the cause. I had to give them as much time to express themselves. I'd like your reactions on some of the comments we've received so far.
Okay, for the first one, we talked about, he made reference to the scripture, talks about women being submissive to their husbands. I hope he's listening. Has he read Ephesians 5:21? Because I understand, I mean, we see that they always skip verse 21 and go to verse 22. And verse 21 says, the man and the woman should submit one to another, submit to themselves, you know. So I wonder why we skip that part and then just go straight to the woman alone submitting. And this submitting one to another, you know, boils down to communication. The man and the woman should communicate and agree on certain things that they need to do. So if, for instance, a woman wants to take up something, maybe outside the home, maybe a job or something, and that is going to be adversely affecting the family, it is what they should sit down to discuss, and not for the man to shove it down her throat because he's the husband. That is not acceptable. I think I'll allow my sister to...
Any response to any of the calls?
Yeah, okay. She's done justice to that, I believe. And I want to commend the third, speaker who actually was saying, give women a chance, just like we're saying. For the last speaker that was trying to say that women have been given the platform, they should just go out there. We know that, that's exactly what we're talking about. My colleague was asking, when did he join the conversation? Because we talked about some of that. Now, when we say that they're not giving the same platform, we know very well, I don't know the Electoral Act now, if they actually, most of the times we have these laws, but it's implementation that is the problem. If the Electoral Act is followed and the electoral process is supervised so that people do not spend money that they ought not to spend, because people buy votes. And you're talking about women that you probably have, left behind for so long without, financial muscle to come and start competing with people who are spreading money and using. That's what we are talking about. Make the platform equal. Create the environment where people can conveniently, aspire for a particular position, be voted for, and let their vote count. No intimidation. Come and shoot gun here and there and there, and then they disperse, and you think that that's not a platform that has been given, to women, if I may say. I don't know if there's anyone that we've left out. Which other one?
I'd like to ask you this. Do you suppose that the inequality is institutionalized?
Institutionalized.
I would think so.
To an extent, yes.
I would think so.
Okay. Could you give a quick response as to why you think so in about a minute?
One, what I've just said now, that platform is not given, because if the laws that are made are implemented, then it will be a fair play. I mean, there will be a fair playground for everybody to do what they're supposed to do. Now, the man that talked about, giving their children equal rights, I'm very surprised. He must be one of the very, very, very few. Okay. Now, I wanted to ask him, do you allow your female children to go wash the cars? When you send the boys to go wash the cars? Or are they supposed to be in the kitchen cooking when those ones are? Do you allow them to do things that, normally they ascribe to boys doing? Because that's where it starts.
And does he allow the boys to go into the kitchen to
cook? Yes, that's where it starts. You can say, I allow them to go cook. But who goes to the market? Does the boy also go to the market to buy stuff? Or maybe when he just comes in and he's hungry, he just dash in there and picks himself something to eat?
But I experienced firsthand there's situations where the male child is treated different from the female child. Even though my parents somewhat quite liberal, they let my sisters aspire to whatever it is they wanted to. They didn't keep them at home while I went to school, obviously. However, there were certain freedoms and privileges I enjoyed that they couldn't even imagine. They couldn't even dream of it. For example, I could go out and come back at certain times of the day. My sisters could not even imagine doing a thing like that. So those were some of the. It might seem insignificant, but I believe all of those trainings
rubs off.
Exactly, and it sends a message to them. Dayo is different. You can't because he's a guy.
Boy.
Because he's a boy. You're a girl. You can't do that.
Okay.
So but we have to wrap it up right now. I have enjoyed myself, and contrary to what I call us things, you have been inspiring. I have been inspired by this conversation. I hope that we'll have more time to have similar discussions as well, as we all put hands on deck to ensure that we can have a better opportunities.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to my guest, Millie Ogu, Stephanie Ekpebulu with FIDA here in River State. Ladies, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Dayo.
Top of the hour, shortly, we've got the news update coming up. Discussions continue afterwards. Should Muslim students be able to wear a hijab to school, even if it's a mission school? There's a crisis in Kwara State. When I return, please stay with us.